Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing well and welcome back. So in today's video, I really wanted to share all of my favorite beachy looking blushes, so the ones that appear kind of like a sunburn or a suntan or something in between there. Nonetheless, all of these blushes give me a super summery, beachy vibe. And as you guys know, these are my favorite types of blushes of all time because they are just very natural looking, and who doesn't want to look like they just stepped off the beach, am I right? So I have 11 blushes in front of me. I have some of all textures as well as price ranges. I have some cream, liquids, and powders, so I'm really excited to share them all with you. But before we get into it, today's video is kindly sponsored by GlassesUSA. So a huge thank you to them. This kind of support means so much to me. I've been working with GlassesUSA for a really long time now, and if you aren't familiar with them, you can purchase your prescription eyeglasses as well as sunglasses online in the comfort of your home. I adore them because they cut out the middleman, therefore you're able to get your prescription glasses at up to 70% off retail prices. They offer over 6,000 styles of eyeglasses as well as sunglasses, and they have their in-house brands as well as designer brands like Ray-Ban, Armani, and Gucci. You could pretty much add any type of prescription to any pair of frames, and that also includes sunglasses as well as blue light blocking glasses. And if you want a pair of just blue light glasses, that is also available if you don't need a prescription. I have blue light blocking on all of my glasses since I do a lot of work online. I'm pretty much always in front of a screen, so for me it was a no-brainer to add that on to my pairs. A complete pair of glasses starts at only $30, and that includes frames as well as the lenses, of course, and a free basic prescription is included with every frame. So now I'm going to show you the 4 pairs that I have. I'll write out the names of the frames I have on screen, and I'll also link them in the description down below. So these are the first ones. I've been wearing these the most out of the 4 I have in front of me. They're just very comfortable, very lightweight, and they just stay on really well. They don't slip and slide at all. I just love these ones. They're very dainty. The next pair here are these really nice olive green ones, and I got these ones because I thought they would be really flattering next to my eye color, and I love how comfortable these ones are as well. They're even more lightweight, and I just honestly think they're really cute. Next up, I got these brown ones, since brown is having a little bit of a moment right now, and I wanted something a little softer than a black pair of glasses, and I love how big these ones are, so I don't have any obstructions in my view when I'm working. And the last pair I have here are these fun kind of see-through-y smoky gray color. I really like them, and I thought these would be fun when I wear cool tones on my eyes or on my cheeks or something. So yeah, let me know which pair you like the best. I think I'm going to wear these ones. These are the vibes for today. So I just wanted to say another huge thank you to GlassesUSA for sponsoring today's video. It means so much to me. So now let's get into the blushes. So I think I'm going to start off with my favorite cream formulas, and the first ones are the Tower 28 blushes. I have 2 shades here, and they're both from the newer shade extension that they just had. The first shade is After Hours, and this one resembles a fresh sunburn. To me, this one looks like your first day on a beach vacation. It has a deeper pinky cranberry undertone that I think is just so beautiful. And the other one here is Power Hour, which is my #1 favorite out of all of the shades they offer. This one looks like when your sunburn is starting to turn into a suntan, so it's more on the bronzy side. The Tower 28 formula is super pigmented. A little bit of product goes a very long way, and the texture is on the balmier side. It has a thicker consistency, and it's quite emollient, which leaves a delightful dewy glow across your cheeks or wherever you apply them. In my experience, the Tower 28 blushes are very long wearing. They're definitely some of the most long wearing blushes I've come across, and I find that's super rare, especially with cream blushes. A majority of them tend to fade during the day, but this formula stays put, and I think that is because of its thicker consistency and how pigmented they are. I think these would be great for all skin types depending on your preferences. They apply really nicely with a brush, a finger, or a sponge depending on the look you're trying to achieve. They're phenomenal. I highly recommend them. They have one of the best cream blush formulations out there. The next blush I wanted to talk about is the Rare Beauty Melting Blush in the shade Nearly Neutral. This shade is on the softer, bronzier side. It does have that warmth running through it, but it still looks like a healing sunburn. I adore it. This formula is on the more subtle, natural side. These blushes are far more sheer than the original liquid blushes that they launched with. But with that being said, this is still a very customizable blush because you can either apply them super sheer or you can build them up as well, depending on your preferences, of course. To me, this texture is very unique because they start melting upon contact, which I love because that makes for a really easy application. But they eventually kind of set down into this soft, powdery texture, which really helps with longevity. I really love their finish because it leaves like a nice satiny glow to your cheeks. So it's not too dewy nor too matte, it's somewhere right in the middle. In my experience, these have been really long wearing as well because they kind of set down. These don't disappear on me by the end of the day. I think this would be a great formula for all skin types as well. And for me, in my experience, it applies best with a brush or a finger. With a sponge, I find that I get kind of an uneven application. The next one I have here is the Pillow Talk Lip and Cheek Glow in the shade Color of Passion by Charlotte Tilbury. This was a limited edition product, but I saw them post about it not too long ago, so that gave me hope that they're going to bring it back. And I feel like this formula is just too good not to have in their core lineup. This is one of my all-time favorite Charlotte Tilbury products in general, so I really hope that they bring them back. But I wanted to speak about it anyways, just in case if you guys have this in your collection already. This shade is closer to a fresh sunburn, but it does have these bronzy hints to it in its undertone, which adds a lot of depth and richness to the color. I find this one to be very unique. This formula here reminds me a lot of the Tower 28 formula. It's just a little bit more sheer, and it has a more shiny, balmy texture. It's even more balmy than the Tower 28 ones. I love the high shine it adds to your cheeks. This one is another long wearing one since it is on that thicker, balmier side. I feel like those ones really know how to stay put. I think if you had a really oily skin type, this might not be your friend. You might find it to be a little too high shine for your skin type. And in my experience with this product, this one applies best with a brush. I get the most even application, it makes it a lot quicker. That's my favorite way to use this one. Next up here, I have this one from Ilia, and this is the shade Dreamer, and it's one of their multi-sticks. This one is a little bit different. When I look at this one, I get hints of red and orange and bronzy tones, but nonetheless, it gives me those bronzy, summery, beachy vibes. This is another flexible formula. You can apply it so you just have a little hint of color, or you can really build the color up if you are someone like me and you like to have a very bold blush look. You can get a variety of looks with this, which I love, and it's also a multi-use product. You can use it on your lips as well. It leaves behind a beautiful glow that's not too crazy at all. I find that the wear time is pretty good, but it doesn't compare to the other ones I just mentioned. This one I have found that I had to touch up a little bit during the day. It still has a really good wear time compared to many blushes I have tried in the past, but I just wanted to mention that it's not the most long wearing out of the bunch. I find that this one would be suitable for all skin types, and I have found that this applies best with a brush or your fingertips. Next up, this one is one of my all-time favorite blushes in general. This is the Patrick Ta She's So LA Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. This one is my baby. I love this thing so much. I love its versatility, and I love the variety of looks you can achieve with it. I think it's just phenomenal. This is also a fantastic blush color if you're newer to blushes, or if you're someone who doesn't super love wearing blushes. This one is very natural. It's pretty close to a bronzer color, but it does have quite a bit of red in there that gives that sun-kissed look that I love. I love how warm and bronzy this one is. It always makes me look like I have a tan. I can pull the shade off at any time of the year. I love experimenting with layering with this blush. You can layer both formulas together, or you can wear either one alone. I think this one is super worth the money because you can achieve so many finishes and vibes, and I also love its color because it pretty much matches any outfit or any eye look or any lip color. This is another one that I think is great for all skin types, and I prefer to use this blush with a brush. I find that I get the most seamless application with any of the formulas here, or with layering as well. Next up, we have another one of my most worn blushes in my collection. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Blush in the shade Mellow Wine. You guys guessed it. I love this shade so much. I find it to be very transformative as well. In the summer when I'm tanned, it brings out the bronzy sunburn vibes out of the undertones, and when I'm pale in the wintertime, it gives me the appearance of cold cheeks, and I just adore that. This formula is great. I find that it's perfectly pigmented. Pigmented? Why do I always say that? I always say pigmented. I don't know what it is. I find this formula to be perfectly pigmented, and to me that means it's not overly pigmented and it's not too sheer. It's somewhere right in the middle. It hits that sweet spot, so it's really manageable and user-friendly. You can build it up slowly, and it's super easy to diffuse. And of course this would work for all skin types, and it works best with a brush. I think that goes without saying. Another powder blush here, and this is another one of my favorites. I'm pretty sure these are all the blushes I gravitate towards the most out of my entire collection. This is the CoverFX Warm Honey Blush, and I get asked all the time whenever I show this why I never remove the sticker, and I just no reason. Maybe I just don't want to look at myself when I open it. Who knows? This is another fun one because you can get a variety of looks and textures. This is another formula I like to play with layering. I'll wear either shade alone, or I'll layer them up, of course. This one's beautiful. It has a nice warm terracotta tone. It resembles when your sunburn is on the way to healing. This one can be very pigmented. A little bit goes a long way, so it can be a little tricky to use. What I like to do is after I dip into it, I like to just hit my brush on the mirror side right here just to remove anything, or I'll tap off the excess off my brush. But I do find that this formula is quite reliable. Even if you do add too much, you can just spend a little bit more time blending it out, and it eventually diffuses and smoothens out. And this formula wears incredibly well. It doesn't fade at all, it stays put. And I think this is one of the first blushes that really got me into these kind of tones. I've had this for a very long time. Love this thing to bits. Next up, I have my Cosmetics serum blushes. These are also my babies. I love these so much. They're very unique to my collection. These shades are also so fun. I have two shades in front of me that I'll be talking about. So this one right here is Venetian Rose, and this one is closer to a suntan vibe. This one over here is the shade Amethyst, and this one resembles a fresh one. These feel like an oil serum, and they deposit a sheerer flush of color over your cheeks, and they also provide a ton of glow, like a ton of glow. These aren't super long wearing. When I do wear these on longer days, I do find myself having to retouch it a little bit halfway through the day, but I think that is because I have an oily combo skin type, so I'm normal around the outskirts and I'm a bit oilier in the center. So I think that contributes to the disappearance of the blush color on my cheeks. That sounded so dramatic. I've been watching a lot of mystery shows. Anyways, with that being said, if you do have an oily skin type all over, I don't think that these would be your friend, but thankfully Cosmetics launched the shade Venetian Rose in their Heaven's Glow blush formula, and I'm actually wearing this on my cheeks today. This one's stunning. The only differences between these two is I find the serum version is a little bit more on the brown side, whereas the powder one is on the pinkier side. It's a very subtle difference, but you'll see what I mean when I insert the swatches. This is another one of their formulas that I have adored over the years. This formula is unique because it has a pearlescence within it, so when it's on your cheeks it looks just like a cream, but it stays put really nicely since it is a powder, and it just reflects the light in such a beautiful way, and the pearl isn't too intense, so it doesn't accentuate your texture at all. It just is very blurring and softening, and it diffuses beautifully. The formula is spot on. And moving on to my last two here, I have two more liquid ones. The first one here is really unique. This is the Quo Beauty Blush Balm in the shade Cinnamon. I don't have another shade like this one in my collection. It super stands out to me. It's a bronzy shade with a lot of yellow in it, so I feel like this would be really great for people who have golden undertones. This liquid blush is amazing. It has a thin, lightweight texture, but it's still very pigmented. They're really easy to blend out, and they leave a nice satin glow to your cheeks, so it's not too intense, but it's still pretty glowy. I find that these are super user friendly, and these apply wonderfully with a brush, your fingertips, or a sponge. Sometimes with formulas like this, a sponge doesn't work because the sponge sops up too much of the product before it can reach your cheeks. But with this one, since it is a little bit more on the emollient side, it doesn't sop up right away. And I find that these would be suitable for all skin types, depending on your preferences, as always. And the last blush here is the Quo Beauty Featherweight Cream Blush in the shade Pure 59. This is my favorite Quo Beauty product of all time. I see myself repurchasing this one over and over and over again. This formula outbeat my love for the Glossier Cloud Paints, which is crazy. The Cloud Paints are what started my whole journey with cream and liquid products, but yes, this one is phenomenal. I find that this color is really similar to the Glossier Dusk color, but it's just a little deeper and a little bit more pigmented as well. The reasons why I do prefer this formula over the Glossier one is because it's easier to use, and I find that these wear a lot better as well. And it does have a little bit more of a glowy finish to it, which I love. I get the best results when I apply this with my fingertips or a brush. This one gets easily sucked up by the sponge. These would for sure work for any skin type. They're a great Canadian treasure. I really hope one day they'll be able to ship out, but for now it's our little Canadian secret. But those are all of my favorite summery blushes. I wanted to be ahead with this video, get an early start with the summery videos. Before I head out, I just wanted to say another huge thank you to GlassesUSA for sponsoring today's video. I'll have links in the description, so please check that out. But with that being said, that is all from me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and found it fun and helpful. If you did, please give it a like. It would help me out so very much. I'll make sure to link all of these blushes in the description down below as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye!